Pisces, welcome to your Celtic Cross, a long form, which I haven't done for ages. I've laid the cards already, and if you want to stay around, this is for Pisces and pine tree people, because we're being presided over outside this window, and there's a white feather. Don't you just love that? By the most beautiful Mediterranean pine tree. I'm in Italy at the moment. So I've laid your cards. We have got three majors, and they're in how you're feeling, really. So, and I think it's a time of kind of trying to pull things together and make things different for yourself. Like kind of pulling your bootstraps up is what I'm saying when I look at these, and get things a bit sorted. I'm going to pull a lovely new oracle card from the Dream Song Oracle, which I got just before I came out here. These are beautiful, and we might do some other capping, so let's just dive straight in. You're turning up as the Emperor internally. That is wanting to get things sorted, feeling quite sort of in your paternal energy, wanting to manage things. This particular illustration has got quite a nice mix between nature and structure, and it's a lofty structure on top of his head, isn't it? It's a cathedral, so it's kind of aspirational and still spiritual. This is a lovely energy, the Emperor. Some people, I don't know, it takes a while to get used to the idea, but I really like it because it feels like a supportive, very successful, very kind of solid energy that we'll be talking about kind of discipline and structure. So that's you internally. It's a very un-Piscean card, but maybe it relates to the people who relate to this pine tree. And having said that, I've got a rising Pisces, and it sometimes we're drawn to those things that are helpful to us. So maybe you're learning to deal with those more rigid aspects when you're such a kind of wonderful, watery, spiritual being. I like it. Crossing you, the way that makes you act on the outside is the Temperance card. So having a break. These are the majors. They're all turning up in the first three cards, which is really interesting. So having a kind of pause in order to try and bring in that energy of the Emperor, I think, is what's going on. Bringing your nature and the Emperor's kind of feelings of structure together. That's probably what this whole reading's about, because at the basis of the reading we've got the Death card, which is about renewal, as we can see from those beautiful flowers all over her. It's seeing right through to the bones of a situation and allowing what's over to die, and for this new this new bit which is able to deal with the structure of the Emperor to come in. So I love that. Those are your three majors. So rebirth, that's really what the basis of this reading is about. When we see what you've just been through, Six of Pentacles, that's getting yourself out of some slightly tricky water. You're still in those black clouds, but you're looking for somewhere to anchor. You're coming out of the storm and you found yourself an island. So maybe the impulse to be a bit more structured and get some boundaries comes from this tricky time. One potential outcome is the Nine of Pentacles. So that is amazing, and it's really lovely when I see what your actual outcome is as well. This is you being appreciated by yourself, mainly taming your bird that's usually a falcon, being able to see from a higher perspective and feeling really abundant, which you can see from her illustrations, enormously wildly abundant. So, you know, your impulses, if they are to kind of embrace your more structured sides, are correct, because we can see this. That is the Nine of Pentacles is just a very resplendent energy, which is wonderful. Coming up is this Ten of Wands. This Ten of Wands, which is when you feel overburdened and it could be because of this illustration overburdened by things that are actually objectively rather lovely. There's just too many of them. So be aware of that. It might be why, again, you're wanting to find that structure, that there's a little bit of an obsessive side. Possibly too much going on for you. So I'm just watching what's going out of the window. I didn't want to distract anyone who's out there. There's a full working vineyard going on here. Yeah, so it's a card that I've been thinking a lot about because I saw a reading and I can't remember whose it was. Forgive me, whoever it was, it'll come to me. But it was a very simple little reading, and it was basically saying some people always feel that they have to take on the world in order to be valued. So taking on more, it's a very female thing to do, an empath thing to do, taking on more than is appropriate in order to feel you should be paid, to be valued, all of those kinds of things. Be wary of that, because this is coming up. Just because you can do all that structure now, and you're having this rebirth, don't give all that energy away by becoming obsessive, by taking on too much. So it's a bit sort of devilly, that energy, in terms of kind of obsession. But, you know, it could just be a moment. Maybe you just have to work very hard at the moment. In your attitude, though, we've got the Four of Cups, which is really curious. You're protected in your current position in this illustration by this bird, your intuition possibly, and you don't want to move from there. So even though it's a bit lonely and you're sat there, normally it's 3 cups. I've got my 3 cups. I'm not taking the 4th. This is, I found my shelter. I'm not moving. So it's interesting. There's an attitude of resistance. We might need to pull cards on where that's coming from. Maybe it's because you feel a bit overburdened. I'm not quite sure. It's interesting. Maybe I'll do that. I'm just going to close the window, then I won't be heard. I can still see the beautiful tree. So maybe that resistance is interesting to me. And we're going to pull extra cards on that. So then in your environment, though, the Queen of Pentacles. So she's very like the Nine of Pentacles, very resplendent. And I think that there is, it sort of feels like maybe that's why you're being a bit resistant, because you've got to this change, because you've got things slightly to where you want them. So that's interesting. Look at her. She's beautiful. Really beautiful. And interesting, she's wearing these flowers that were a bit burdensome. So it might be that home is something that can become quite a lot. Maybe there are people demanding your attention at home, or something at home needs your attention. But essentially, she is the Queen of Hearth and Home. So this is a really beautiful person to reside with in your home. And she's very highly valued, like the Nine of Pentacles that's coming up. In your hopes and fears, the Four of Pentacles. So this shows where that resistance to the Four of Cups might be coming from. With the Four of Pentacles, it says, I want to stay safe. I want to stay where I am. I want to hold things as they are. So it could be, you've been through this turbulent time with the Six of Swords. You've got your internal structure. You're having your pause. You know there's change around, and you're very aware of the possibility of all this overblown activity, and actually you just want to put the brakes on because you can't take much more. Even it's either that you haven't tested the Emperor and his powers, and therefore you don't know that he keeps you protected and slightly less burdened, and therefore you want to keep things at bay, or you're still not convinced that that it won't become overbearing anyway. So you want to, it's your hope and a fear, because I think there is part of you that realizes it's frightening to stay stuck as well. You want to be freed up. You want this transformation. So where it's all leading, Five of Cups. Five of Cups, who could be a bit disappointed, who's focusing on the wrong thing rather than the right thing. These 3 lovely flowers are here, and she's sort of looking in the other direction. But in fact, no, sorry, she's looking at the 3 flowers that are floating away, like the spilt cups and the traditional Rider-Waite, and she's forgetting that she still holds these 2. So there's a advice with that card, which is to change your perspective. A bit like the 4s, don't get stuck in what's happened in the past. But then we have the 10 of Cups, which is an amazing card, and the Knight of Pentacles. So I can't help but think that you do change your perspective. You are going to change your perspective, particularly with the 9 of Pentacles coming up in your potential outcome. I think you get it. You've got a grasp on those 2. Actually, there's something really harmonious and happy happening in your love quarter, in your sort of sense of fulfillment in life, and it comes from the kind of steady energy of the Knight of Pentacles that's very like the kind of disciplined energy. It's a bit more stolid, but it's like the disciplined energy of the Emperor. So maybe this is what gets you through, and to end with the 10 of Cups is really, really amazing. Let's pull you a dream song card oracle to see if we can get some clarity. Excuse me, one's gone on the floor. Giving you a little insight into where I'm sitting. So we've got the garden, the heart. That's beautiful. What does that remind me of? Garden, the heart. I don't know these. It's kind of saying that's how much does that remind you of this? So maybe some of this overburden is coming from home, but these 2 couples together, it's saying that's where your real strength lies. For me, that's what that's saying, is in your heart, in your loving relationships, in what you love, and then grow your wishes. Wow. Yeah. So the new moon is in the sky, and these are... this is really saying there is a new start. It comes from your love. It comes from that kind of energy of harmony and home that I can see is really good for you. I'm just going to pull a couple of others. Even if it doesn't feel good now, it is going to. So these ones that I'm going to get here are these beautiful kind of quirky illustrations. Let's see what we get with these. So give us some more insight. I can see that these people who are turning up for this reading are integrating some discipline, have got something very loving coming towards them if it's not already with them. And I can see that there's a new, that's lovely, and there's a new start, the star. Wow. Yeah, there really is. Oh, got my finger caught in the car window today. That hurt. As it was going up. There's a star. There's a healing going on. That's amazing. And it comes from allowing in. So these resistant 4s, tell us about those. What are they about? 9 of Pentacles. Stop resisting them. This is the second. It's almost like you can't believe how good you are, how good things could be. You're resistant. When I ask why are they resisting, it's almost like you can't see yourself the way everybody else does. You don't realize how successful you are. And so you need to change that perspective, bring in that emperor who would look after his empress, who would look after those parts of you. And final word from the cards, yeah, the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles, yeah. Like, it's basically saying, see yourself in this solid, structured, mainly male energy. Like, you need to support all your whimsy and beauty in this Queen of Pentacles home, in this loving 10 of Cups space. That's very Piscean. There needs to be this Knight of Pentacles, this Emperor, this King of Pentacles, this Hierophant. Don't be frightened of integrating that in this new step, because twice we've had the 9 of Pentacles and she is amazing. She has achieved everything she can achieve. She can experience it in her garden. And let's remind ourselves what your oracle cards were. Grow your wishes and garden the heart. Isn't that interesting, when what we always say about the 9 of Pentacles is that she's in her garden? enjoying her garden, enjoying the fruits of her labour. So, and I think your labour may well have been largely of the heart, because if we're talking about gardening your heart, we've got the Nine of Pentacles twice. Maybe all the good work you've done through this loving relationship, this Ten of Cups, or whatever it is that you do to create stability for people, through your Queen of Pentacles, through the star kind of energy, this healing, garden that, now get the benefits, get the harvest from it, like her headdress, like all those coins that are coming. Like, let's start to see what we can bring from all that love. Look in there, there's a birdhouse, again, the birds swooping down. I love these illustrations. And then not only harvest everything, but grow your wishes. There's more to come. This is so beautiful. Pine tree, Pisces people, thank you for letting me read for you. See you again.